as it is in heaven, so it is on earth, whatever the fuck that means. Because if something's happening on earth and earth is the opposite polarity of it being in a position where it's kind of in a environment catering to more of a darker field, the earth, and then the sun kind of reflecting that darker field on a more light projected field, the sun, then the as above of that sun and the earth, they could be portals for each other, where the earth represents the as above, the darkness is the as above, and the lightness paradoxically is the as below. So we're in the as below, and the darkness is the as above, right? So with all of that being said, it's not necessarily fixed within, that statement is not a fixed statement. It has an orbit and a transition, you know? So as it is in heaven, so it is on earth. So we're reflecting the darkness of the heavens, the light, the solar level of the sun and the earth. It's reflecting the darkness where a transit of a spaceship in the heavens, it's in a particular field of darkness within the binary star of the galaxy, and within that, whatever's happening on the earth right now, it's reflecting the darker field within the heavens, right? So as it is on heaven, so it is on earth. So unconsciously, we're using all of these energies on an unconscious metaphysical level already. We're getting taxed, right? And within the quote-unquote energetic distorted light field, the sun and the space environment constellation field, and how we're using the field of light of the sun, we could be using that in an out-of-pocket way, right? So it's not what we do, it's how we do it. So the light isn't good or bad, but there could be a good light and a bad light that we could use as good or bad. So the thing here is, like, as it is in heaven, so it is on earth. But we have to understand what that means. We're on earth, so we're using that earth chakra. So on an unconscious metaphysical level already, we're getting taxed, right? And since we're getting taxed on the metaphysical level, we don't necessarily know, that could get kind of like distorted, you know, it could get like smushed around, and it could have a worsening state, right? So within that worsening state, it takes certain particular higher energy planetary chakras to balance that shit, to balance how certain surface level lower chakras are being used for distorted ways or not, you know? So the thing is, we're already getting taxed metaphysically, unconsciously. What does that mean? We're getting taxed because we're using the earth, we're using the sun, we're using the chakras, right? And since we're using the chakras, the higher outer planet chakras, Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto, they're doing a far away project. They're doing a far away mystical spiritual project, respectively. And spiritual isn't always like quote unquote good or bad, end quote. But we're using those chakras too. We're using the Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto chakras, and on the unconscious metaphysical level, they're taxing us, right? Because we're using those chakras to do our personal projects, such as the marketing, right? Such as, and I feel like marketing could be quite parasitical, right? Because they're just doing copy paste, and they're using Federal Reserve, you know, con artist tactics to fuel and inject, you know, digital currency with their copy and paste method. So that's parasitical, you know? So that's the parasitical approach of the marketing game. So I'm just saying that, and they're using higher planetary chakras, Uranus, Neptune, Pluto, not just on the two-dimensional written, verbal, linguistic level, but on the energetic level. They're using it to navigate through change. Uranus bringing the spirit of balance, innovation, and transformation within all of that shit. Neptune bringing, you know, the story narrative settings of the ancient past, and Pluto having like a life and death transformation process, and Lilith being like, you know, a different type of dark field. So number one intelligence in the universe, you know it, and the taxing will be balanced, but on an unconscious metaphysical level, we're already getting taxed though. You have the best life ever.